Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you so much all for tuning in to the Her Campus Hofstra 2020 Dream Job Panel. This is our first ever digital one. Thanks, coronavirus, for that.
We are literally so excited to have you all here with us, and we are so especially excited to bring on our amazing panelists who I know you all are here for, of course. But again, we just want to say we're so grateful for you guys to be here because I know literally this is crazy. I've never been this long not seeing Maddie, and it's hurting me deeply.
I was literally just about to say that. It's pretty sad. And also a huge shout out to the comm school at Hofstra for helping us set up with this live streaming service. So if we're ready to go, we can start introducing our panelists.
Awesome. Yeah, let's bring them on.
So first up, we are joined by Carrie Carrollo. She is a home decorator, freelancer, YouTuber, and former writer for Pop Sugar. So thanks for joining us, Carrie.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Can you hear me also?
Yes, you're
amazing.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
And then second up, we're going to bring on Gabrielle Fonrouge. She's currently a reporter for the New York Post, but she's also had experience at Vice, New York One, and NPR. So thank you, Gabrielle, for joining us. And we did get prior permission to call you Gabby, so we're going to go with Gabby.
Yep, totally fine. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic.
Great. And then lastly, but not least,
Lee.
We're going to ignore that. Finally, we have Katy Bellotte. She is a content creator, graphic designer, and podcaster. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to have you.
Happy to be here.
So just for everyone watching, we'll give you a little overview of what's going to go on tonight. We're going to be asking the panel some questions that Maddie and I and the rest of the Her Campus Hofstra e-board came up with. By the way, if you're not following us on Instagram, you definitely need to be. It's at HC Hofstra. So please go over there. And then also follow all these lovely ladies on their social media as well, which we will have pop-ups for them as well coming up. But we're going to ask the panel some questions that Maddie and I came up with the rest of the e-board, and then we're going to have a Q&A bit at the end while we're doing some rapid fire. So please be sure to be commenting your questions throughout, and then Paige, our amazing technical director behind the scenes, will be pulling up your comments for the panelists to answer. All right? Sound good?
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Good. We'll get into it. So first, our first question for all of you is just, how are you doing? This is a hard time, and we just want to check in, make sure everybody's doing good. So how are you doing during this time?
I feel like we can start with Katy. She's like right under me, so let's do that.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I don't want to like lie here and say, oh my God, I'm doing amazing, because that's not truthful. I'm definitely, every day is different. Some days I'm like, this is fine, we're doing okay. And then the next day I'm like, oh my God, my life's a mess. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. Like, you know, I think it's all about just finding the balance, knowing that it's okay if you can't work as hard as you used to in your given environment. I'm here with my parents. I'm not used to that. I'm used to having my own space and having my own way of working. And so just, you know, I'm finding ways to forgive myself and be easier on myself, you know, just like kind of going with the motions. But I would say overall, I'm okay. I feel like after it's been a little bit, so I've gotten used to this weird, not normal situation, but I'd say overall I'm okay. Although I'm not perfect, definitely. Like I could be better, you know.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Gabby, I see you nodding. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hanging in there, keeping on, you know. I'm in Brooklyn, so I don't know where everyone here is located, but I'm right in the thick of it. But you know, it was a lot tougher in the beginning. Now I'm trying to make peace. You know, you feel better if you make peace with the situation. So I've made peace. I'm like, this is my life now. This is my world. I'm not leaving this world. And whenever I can leave this world, it'll be a pleasant surprise rather than something I'm counting down for, because then you just kind of lose your mind doing that.
Yeah.
So just taking it one day at a time, a lot of exercise, trying to go for walks and hanging out with my cats, but I'm doing good.
Amazing. Carrie?
Yeah, like Katy, I'm also with family right now, which is not something that I'm used to. And I've been here for about 2 months. I'm down in Florida, so it's definitely different, definitely weird. I'm super used to having my own space and whatever. And also I'm a freelancer, so that when all of this hit was definitely something to think about and something to worry about a little bit and be stressed about. And I feel really lucky that I've been able to have work in this time. So I'm just taking it day by day from here on out.
Definitely. Yeah. Can everyone just say like where they're coming from? Because Gabby made a good point that I don't know if did we all say it or not. I mean, I know Maddie and I are in New Jersey.
Yep.
I'm in Maryland at the time being.
I'm in Brooklyn.
Yeah, and then right.
And I'm in Florida. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Maddie.
Okay, so our next question, obviously your work life is going to be a little bit different now that you're home and you're with your families. So what does a typical day in your work life look like for you right now?
So I guess I can start with that. I feel like I said, every day is different. That's for sure. I mean, some days I'm feeling like I want to be more productive than other days. And, like it was said, I mean, I'm lucky as a freelancer to have work right now. And I know that I'm super lucky to be able to work from home. And although a lot of things have changed and life is different now, I would say, though, a lot of things for me haven't really changed because I already work from home anyway. So I luckily have gotten pretty used to working from home and like what that looks like. And for me, I always, of course, start out in the morning, just, mapping out my day, just like by hour, just like what I'll be doing, making sure I have little times to do nothing or play Animal Crossing or just like do nothing, because I think that's so crucial right now. But I would say just a normal day for me, every day is different because I'm doing some graphic design work some days, I'm doing YouTube videos and podcasts another day. So although every day is different, I always have a to-do list. I always have breaks scheduled that I can look forward to, because I feel like having something to look forward to right now is crucial, even if it's something super small and, not huge at all. But yeah, I think that's kind of a typical day for me. I'm never doing the same thing every day, which is nice, being a freelancer, but I would say to-do lists are key for me.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm going to take some, cues from you and schedule in some time to do nothing, because
yes,
I need that in my life. So for me, every single day is different. As a reporter, it all just depends on the news cycle. If anything, actually, reporting on coronavirus has been one of the most consistent things I've ever done, because every single day we know what the news is. Just corona. So, I've been trying to, this is actually the best workout schedule I've been able to maintain in a very long time, because I come every single day. I don't have to get to the office early. I don't have to go, I'm a national correspondent. So, each day I don't even know where I'm going. It could be sent out anywhere. But now I know I'm not getting sent out anywhere. So I've been able to have time at home. So I try to start my morning nice, have a nice workout, and then I start work at 10:30, and I usually just dive right in, and it's kind of like nonstop for 8 hours. And, usually when I worked in the office, I would take a break and go get a coffee and go take a walk outside or something. I work in Midtown Manhattan. And, I work with my girlfriend, and we live together, and we were both like, we don't go out during the day anymore. So today we left our desk, our kitchen table, and took a walk to the coffee shop, and it was so luxurious and wonderful. We're like, wow, look at us out in the neighborhood in the middle of the day. Wow.
Yeah.
So it's just it's nonstop all day long. But I like when I'm off work, I put my laptop away, I put my headphones away, I put all the gadgets away, so I can be because my living room is also where I work, but it's also my relaxation space. So you really got to set those clear boundaries to be on work and off work. So
yeah, it's such a tough thing to do, especially with being expected to be on call all the time, especially because we're all on digital devices.
Yeah.
Carrie?
Yeah, and for me, like Katie, I already worked from home mostly. So it wasn't that different, I guess. But the one thing I've noticed really is that I've been so tired for no reason, especially because I'm not doing anything.
No, literally.
Yeah, so I've just been trying to be nice to myself and my body, and let myself sleep if I need to sleep, and not feel like I need to sign on. Sometimes I don't do work until 5 p.m., whatever. But yeah, I always start my day with Animal Crossing.
Yes.
And
I feel like I have to get on the wave.
Yes, you do.
Me too.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with Animal Crossing. I've heard good things, but I don't know anything about it. And I do love games, so.
Yeah, everybody's on it. Is it it's a Nintendo game? It's a
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the reason everyone's on it is because it's such a low stress game. Like, I mean, there are stressful elements, but you can just like run around your island for hours and no one's going to bother you. There's no quests. There's no one, killing you or anything. You're just running around, collecting fruit, talking to villagers. It's like very low stress, I feel like.
So what you're saying
it's like,
is you can go outside virtually, and I feel
right,
like
exactly.
And you can interact with people. There's no social distancing. It's just like it's kind of like a fun break from everything going on. I mean,
all right, I'm gonna take your advice and get on the wave now. I feel like I need to get a switch.
You need it.
We're gonna completely pivot a little bit because this is the Dream Job panel, while in a very odd state. We usually talk about like, how did you get to where you are today, and what was a big moment for you, what was a big loss for you, that kind of stuff. So we are going to still ask a couple of those questions, but keep it a little more brief because obviously there's a lot going on here. So I'm going to start with Carrie this time, just to bring it the other way around the circle. But what was your first step in entering the communications world? You can take that either pre or post grad.
Ooh. Well, I majored in originally communication in college, and then I switched to media. I went to several different colleges, and so I had to switch around a little bit to like be on the path that I wanted to be on. But yeah, I ended up majoring in media, and then I graduated early and moved out to New York without a job and really barely any experience. I had done her campus. I went to U of I is where I graduated from, Illinois, and also college fashionista. And that's pretty much all I had as like writing clips or whatever resume stuff. And I like applied into the black hole of intern applications, and someone actually picked mine out and saw me. And yeah, that's pretty much how I made my way in.
Yeah, exactly. Like the golden path. That's what you want.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick that. Katie, what was your first step? Because I know you had anyone can watch your vlog and like find out about your story, but you started at L'Oreal post grad.
Yeah, I mean, even before that though, I started with just communications. I studied communications in college. It was just a very broad degree, but I did more of a graphic design route of it, like in terms of the classes I chose, because I always was really passionate about graphic design. And I started my YouTube channel even backing up further in 2009. So I always had something in the communications realm, just like in my back pocket, but I really wasn't sure about like where I would go post grad. So then ultimately at Elon, which is where I went to college, I chose to apply for some jobs post-grad. L'Oreal, I luckily had done some work with them already and had some connections there. So they hired me for a job post-grad where I worked in social media. I was happy. I felt like I was a part of a team. I loved the vibe of it. I loved the atmosphere. It was fun. I was working in makeup. I was trying all these new products before they were released. It was very fun, but I just found that parts of me were unsatisfied by it. And like you said, I have a whole video about it if you want like the full dirty details about it. But ultimately I quit after a year and a half and have been doing freelance ever since, kind of pursuing. I knew I really loved graphic design and I just was not getting it really where I was. And so now I do graphic design every single day, like my most favorite thing in the world. I'm working with clients just, firsthand. I'm working right with them. I'm not working through 15 rounds of people looking at something. Like L'Oreal was just such a big company. It was like, someone had to look at something 15 times over before it was out the door. Whereas for me, it's just nice being my own boss. Like there's really no other way to put it. It's very nice. There's different stresses that you have, especially now, just getting work, making sure, people still need you even during this time where everyone's budgets are being cut and all that. So that's been a challenge, but I am very happy with where I am. And I would say it really did stem from my communications degree in college. Like I got to try a bunch of different things and figure out that I really liked graphic design. So that's kind of my journey.
You kind of had that path too, where like you applied and you got the job, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't even put it that easily. It was like, internships was a whole nightmare, and I applied to so many, like 200, and I didn't even it's just a nightmare. So it was not like, I know it's not easy for everyone. It's just really not, honestly. I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely kind of like the sad reality with applying to internships, especially like as college students, we really feel that, like you can apply to 35 internships and only hear back from one of them, and it's never the one you want to hear back from.
Never.
Oh yeah.
And then Gabby, you are working currently at a big company, New York Post. So way back when, because you've had a couple like in between jobs.
It's been a long road.
Yes. What was that first step? What first got you there to, I think NPR you started with? Am I wrong?
Yeah. I started with New York One.
Okay.
So basically, it was like my junior year, and I was like, oh, holy shit, I haven't done an internship yet. Like, I have to do one. And, I was really involved with like the radio station and the newspaper and the TV station and all that kind of stuff. I also studied communications because I felt like it would give me the broadest education. And just like Katie said, it allows you to try out a bunch of different things. I was able to, and also get skills so I can sell my skills for money. So I took PR writing, so I know how to write a press release. I took radio production, so I can work in a radio station. I took television production, so I know how to work in a TV station. And I also took news writing, so I know how to work for a newspaper. And in media, all the mediums come together online. You have podcast, you have video, you have audio, you have writing, you have all of it, photo taking. So that really served me very well. Also some graphic design classes. I know how to use InDesign. Not that I use it at all ever, but I could have. So, I needed an internship, and we had, campus external relations, and I was a high performing student, and I was like, look, I want to get an internship. Help me. Do you have connections? Please send an email to plug me in, because that's really so imperative, to just get yourself to shine out of that pile. If you just send your stuff out into the ether, I mean, they say like 70% of jobs come from knowing somebody and not through the regular traditional application process. And that's always been very true for me. So, I got an internship at New York One, and I really worked my total ass off. I tried to be on top of everything all the time, really going the extra mile. I had to miss some days, so I would go in on the weekends to make up those days because I had class stuff and shit I needed to do, but I didn't want to miss those precious days of my semester. So I went in on the weekends, and then they actually ended up hiring me when I was still, when I just finished my junior year. So I got my first job, my first real journalism job as a senior in college, which was incredible. Oh, wow. I remember I had honors Latin at 7:30 in the morning, and why I chose that as a senior, don't ask. I'm a math teacher. And I remember there was a shooting at this big New Jersey mall. It was 2013, 14. And I was out so late, and I told my Latin teacher, I'm I'm sorry, I was covering a shooting. I'm a young journalist. Please reason with me. And, I got an A in the course, everything worked out. It was fine. But, in terms of a pitfall, a lot of freelance or people who hire freelancers, businesses that aren't corrupt, they have a limit to the number of hours that you work, because if they start treating you like a full-time employee and you work full-time hours, and they have to offer you health insurance. So New York One had a cap 900 hours. That was it. And by the second semester of my senior year, I was out of hours and unemployed. So I hadn't even graduated yet, and I was already an unemployed journalist. And that's when I started a freelance career that lasted me for about 2 to 3 years right after college. So that was a big pitfall. But I was actually doing an event like this. I was the president of SBJ at my school, Society of Professional Journalists, and I had an alumni panel, brought them all in, and there was somebody who worked at the New York Post, and I was listen, I just got laid off. Are you guys hiring for any type of, field reporters or anything? And she was able to connect me to the managing editor. I emailed him every day for 10 days in a row because he didn't respond to any of my emails, but I just kept trying because persistence is such a huge key that you can take away from this, especially in media, because we're all very busy people and with short attention spans. So eventually I got the job. I freelanced for a few more years. I was part-time with them, and now I have my full-time job and I get to do what I want, and it's great. So it's an abbreviated version.
Totally. I will say we just need to pause for a second because I'm getting some feedback from some of eBoard saying the connection's kind of iffy. So if everyone listening, if you can hear it, can you just give us a quick comment saying that you can see and hear and everything's going okay? Just because we want to make sure everyone's hearing everything. Yeah, it's half and half people are saying. Sorry, guys.
Technical difficulties that we wouldn't normally have.
Paige, how are we doing? Okay. I'm going to try and open it on YouTube and make sure.
I've heard that if you use Chrome, it's better than if you're in Safari. That could be.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to say let's just continue. And if you are having trouble connecting, maybe connect through Chrome. That might help. Interesting. Okay. Let's just continue. Also, this is recorded, so if anyone's really having connection problems, like they can watch it later. Okay, but I did get word that we have like 80 people watching, so thank you all for coming here because that's amazing. All right, Nuck, take it away.
Right. So you all are pretty successful in your careers. Obviously, there's a couple steps you have to take to get to that point. If there was like one thing that you could pick out that you would say, like, this was the thing that I did right in my career that got me to where I am today, what do you think that would be for all of you individually?
Oh,
we can start with Carrie to kick it off.
Carrie, you're on the spot. You need to know right now.
This is a big question. Okay. I don't know. I feel like I just said yes to a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was getting started, I ended up basically, I was a branded content editor basically at Pop Sugar. So that is not something that I applied for initially. And it's not something that I had any experience in. It's basically like advertising mixed with editorial. And it's a whole separate beast, although it is still like editorial. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I said yes to that. And a bunch of things along the way. And I learned a lot, and I feel like that is probably the biggest thing. Yeah. And then, yeah, it just all went from there. Yeah.
Gabby, I'm seeing we're getting a visitor.
Yeah. My cat wants to join.
What's your friend's name?
His name's Christian.
Hi, Christian.
Say hi, Kitty.
Oh my god!
He's actually trying to get on the table right now. I think he's very excited about this. He hasn't had any social interaction either besides me. So.
He's welcome to be on camera.
Maybe he'll come get in my lap.
Star.
So in terms of what I would answer is I would totally piggyback on Carrie, saying yes and working hard. You know, like it really shines when you're willing to go that extra mile, when you're willing to stay late or say yes to an assignment that you might not really totally understand. But, you know, we all fake it until we make it. You learn on the fly. I had no idea what I was doing when I was hired for my full-time position, but I just made it and figured it out. And here I am. I'm in a really good spot. It's been through 4 years. I've won awards for my work. Like, you know, it all comes together. And the reason, like, the one thing that I did right was be persistent and always work as hard as I could, because I was really passionate about my work. And if you're passionate about your work, then you're going to work hard and it's going to take you places. Like whenever I have like a tough assignment and I'm like, God, like, how am I going to get through this? And I think back to some of the other things that I've gotten through, some tough things like staying up all night, reading government documents and trying to figure out if they're polluting the Long Island Sound. Like that was one of my big first investigative stories. And I know that if I just like put my head down and just keep chugging away, I'm going to get it done. And it always rings true. You know, it never lets me down, that type of mentality.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, those are great answers. And I agree. Like, I definitely agree. Totally true. But I think something that I did right it might not sound like conventionally like I did it right, but I did it right. In college, I think I was a part of a lot of things. I was very social in college. And to be honest, I think when I started college, I was I was an introvert. Like I was very just focused on myself, or not even focused on myself, but just scared of other people, I would say. And I really I realized that if I was going to continue to do that, like what's the point of even going to college with other people? Like I should just be on online school at this point. Like why am I with all these people if I'm not going to ask someone to get coffee or just make connections with people? And it really took me a lot to get out of my shell to do that. But I was a part of a sorority on campus. I was on a magazine. I was fashion editor of a magazine. I was doing a ton of different things, which of course can have its drawbacks if you need to be focused on school, and that's important. But all of these connections that I made through all the things that I did, and the random people in class, I was like, hey, do you want to just get a coffee? Those are now connections that I'm using in the city. I have gotten so many jobs freelance because of these people.
these people have gone on to work at really awesome companies that need a graphic designer, and we're friends. You know, we'll go out and get drinks sometimes. And like you, of course, like Gabby said, connections are huge. They're hugely important. They're a reason why you're going to get a job over someone else. Mm-hmm. Someone else might be just as qualified as you, just as smart, have just as much on their resume, but they're not, you know, easy to talk to, or they're not someone that truly is asking you, hey, how are you doing, and means it, and aren't just doing it just to like trying to get a job. It's like, I think it's really important to work hard and say yes to everything. And those are really amazing, valid points. But I also think it's important to just put yourself out there, be social, and make friends. Like, as hard as it can be for some people, it is really, you will never look back and be like, oh, I wish I knew less people at college, or I knew less people in New York. It's like, I think fostering really great relationships is also super helpful. And I'm glad I've done that throughout my career.
Yeah, and it's definitely a common theme we see, like in every panel that I've ever been to as a college student. Like, the theme is make connections, you know, and especially in this industry. And then we're going to pivot like the other way. We are still having like connection issues, which is why you might see me like looking around a little bit. So we might switch the commenting up a little bit later, but we're going to keep going for now, because I think that's the best thing we can do. So we're going to pivot the question now to be, what's one mistake you've made up to this point? I mean, you're all young, you have so much time left in your professional careers, but like, what do you remember, like one thing you were just like, oh, should not have done that, but it may have led you to where you are now? You can think on it for a second. It's kind of like a big question.
Oh, I know exactly what. I still cringe when I think about it to this day. They keep you up at night. Yeah, so like I said, I started at New York One when I was in college. And when I was in college, I was a massive overachiever. I was in the honors college. I was taking 18 credits a semester. I was like president of 3 clubs, and I was part of this scholar. I was just like doing way too freaking much. Yeah. I was doing this internship on top of everything. It was also the first year that I moved out of the dorm. So it was like a major, like just huge life transitions. And it was hard for me to manage. You know, I was also having some struggles with my personal life at the time, and it started to bleed into work. I started coming to work late. You know, I'm kind of like a chronic late person. Like, I'm late. I'm 15 minutes late for everything. And it's like every day I'm like, I'm going to be on time today. And I'm like, no.
It makes you a little bit late.
And, you know, they had taken a chance on me. I was a college student that they hired, and I kept showing up late, and it was like, you know, my boss now, he doesn't care if I'm 15 minutes late because I stay 15 minutes late. You know, he doesn't care. Yeah. Like, my boss, like, it's a totally different environment. But in the TV world, it was like a huge fucking no-no. Like, excuse my language, but like, no, you need to be there at 6:59 if your shift starts at 7. And I was there at like 7:10 to 7:20. And this actually came back to really bite me in the ass. When a full-time position came up, I was overlooked. Even though I was one of the top reporters, like, I really was one of the, like, not to, you know, self compliment myself or whatever, but like, I knew I was a really strong performer. And they decided against it. And I still feel like my relationship with them is weird. Cause it just kind of ended weird. Like, things got weird at the end. They were mad at me for being late. Like, I wasn't my best, you know, and, you know, I'm lucky I was able to bounce back from that, because reputations stick with you. That was somewhere I really messed up.
Yeah. But you are still here and doing still what you love. So,
yeah.
You know,
and when I'm going to like a really important event, like when I went to Jussie Smollett's arraignment in Chicago, I was there early. Like, those are the things that don't fuck up at all. You know, I might go to the office, all right, I'm 10 minutes late, whatever. But like, when it's important, I know when it's important, and I learned that the hard way, but that's okay, because I still learned.
Yeah, definitely. Did Carrie or Katy, did you think of one up yet?
I can give you one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess mine is like conventionally a mistake, but it ended up working out, but I'll say it anyways. Okay. I mean, like I said, I ended up at 3 colleges, more actually. I transferred twice, so I was at 3 basically. And I just like was moving around a lot. There was a lot going on in my life at the beginning of college that was like out of my control, and I was trying to like dodge it and pivot and like do all the things to make things work out okay, and like have this conventional college experience that like everyone talks about and is so like glorified, which is amazing, but I just wasn't having that. And I think because I was so busy with everything going on, I was not part of that many clubs. I did not have any internships. Like, it was always my dream to like move to New York for the summer in college, like one of the summers, and internet and magazine, and have all this experience. And I came out of college with nothing really, because I just didn't have time, like amidst all this other stuff that was going on. So I think at the beginning, when I was applying for jobs, I was like, oh shit, like I am so behind. Everyone has had 6 internships at Elle and Vogue and whatever, and I like have nothing. But I think because of that, I really didn't give myself an option to like not be successful. So it definitely helped with like my, I guess, like persistence once I did finally get out and like feel like I had the freedom to finally like do what I wanted to do.
Yeah. And I know me and Maddie, like being in the comm school, we totally feel that pressure of like needing to have a jillion internships and all this experience, but you're proving that you can still be successful and not have that much experience coming out.
I did one internship.
Oh, go ahead.
One.
Yeah.
I think for me, I mean, it's hard to like pinpoint it, but I feel like I've just made a million little baby mistakes along the way. But I think one just like kind of big but really important thing that I've learned from is just my workload needs to be rational. Like it needs to, I as a creative person have to put in a certain amount of hours for one project to be in a way that I am proud to, you know, put a price tag on it and give it to someone that really needs it for a project, whatever. So for example, like a video takes me like 5 hours to edit perfectly, like in the way I want it. And for a while I was like, oh, I should probably get that down to like 2 hours. Or like I was too ambitious, I think, with a lot of the things I was doing. And it's my own fault. I was saying yes too much, which is a thing. It's like you can say yes to everything and you should be super eager and fill your time with a lot of things, but be kind of level-headed about it and know when you're saying yes to something that you truly just can't do right now, that you can't juggle. Because I was not only, I mean, at L'Oreal, when I was at my full-time job, it was tough because I was balancing that as well as my YouTube channel and the podcast and everything else, and doing some freelancing work. But now that I, took that off my plate and I am not working a corporate job anymore, since leaving, have felt like I need to put way more things on there to compensate for my job not being there anymore. But in turn, I'm just kind of landing myself exactly where I was before, in the sense that I'm like just overworked. So it's tough because I want to say yes to everything. Everyone comes to me with like a cool project and I want to say yes, and I want to just like do things, even people will come to me and be like, I'll do this, or I want you to do this for me, but I can't pay that full amount. Can I give you half and like do this thing? And I'm like, no, like I need to say no to those things. Yeah. And it's tough because I want to be there for everyone and I want to help everyone, but I can't. And I think that's been the biggest learning experience for me, is like knowing my worth, which is important. I think another mistake I will say that I just thought of was, for a while when I started out freelancing, I was underselling, or my price tag was way too low for the work I was putting in, because I felt bad. And I felt like it wasn't, I am too young to be charging X dollars for something. Yeah. And I have 10 years of experience if you count all the years I've been editing these freaking videos on YouTube. It's like, you can't discount yourself just because you have a little lack of confidence. Like you have to just go out there and like say, this is my price. This is how long it takes me to do something. I'm not doing it for any less, go elsewhere. I'm not forcing you to work with me. So I think just being picky with projects and not fully like having my schedule like booked up, because I do want to have some room for spontaneity in my life, because that is how we all should be. I feel like I have a little bit of wiggle room to just do whatever we want, even if it's like 20 minutes. So yeah, that's been a learning experience for me.
No, it's definitely interesting. And it makes me wonder about like, is it a gender thing? Like, would men be having the same questions, right? But we're not here to talk about the wage differences, not this time anyway. But then Nak is going to take it away with the overall theme of why we're here.
Right. So, this is the dream job panel, but we want to know if your current jobs are your dream job. And if it's not, what is your dream job? Anybody can start.
That is a good question. Yeah.
I'll answer. I think I'll start. I think I'm pretty close to my dream job. You know, when I was hired full-time, I actually didn't want to be full-time. I wanted to be a freelancer because it afforded me so much flexibility. I was able to take a month off and go to Europe and Airbnb my apartment and shoot a documentary in Albania. Like, full-time jobs don't have flexibility. But, you know, I was sitting down, I was like, I just want more money for my part-time work. Like, I deserve it. I have more experience. And they're like, well, look, what do you want? Like the editor-in-chief was like, what do you want? And I was like, well, I want to travel and I want to do long form investigative reporting. And she's like, all right, done. And then they offered me a job where they said I could do that. And so I started doing that. And that's exactly what I do now. I basically get to do whatever I want. The stories that I'm passionate about, I get to pitch. I still have to do stuff they want me to do, which I do.
Right.
You got to play the game. But, you know, so it's like, I still want to grow though. You know, I really want to work for I want to do documentaries, like long form broadcast documentaries. I really miss the television world. That's something I have a big background in. I had devoted a lot of my study to it. I love print because I'm a writer, but I miss the other mediums. And I want to be more of like my own boss as well. Like I want to be producing my own documentaries and stuff like that, and maybe working for CNN or something like that. So, you know, like the ladder is still there. I'm doing the right subject matter, but I'm not totally there yet.
At least you're on the path. That's pretty important.
I mean, it's a ladder. That's the thing. It's like everyone thinks that you're like, oh, this isn't my dream job, but it's like everything is a stepping stone to the next place. You know, sometimes like if you look at somebody who does have your dream job, go to their LinkedIn and see the steps that they took to get there. That was something my mentor told me in college. And because I was like, I don't want this job. Like, I don't know if I want to do this. Like, I don't know if I want to work for a tabloid. And they're like, look, who's somebody that you admire? Figure out how they got there. And that's really resonated with me because now when I see people I admire, I'm like, all right, how did you get there? What are your steps? Like I like deep dive Google them, and you know, and it helps you it puts things into perspective, you know, it makes it feel more real too. Thanks, Devin.
I mean,
we'll all be waiting.
Head to my YouTube channel. I have some ones from college. They're pretty cool.
Oh my God, that's so cool. I also think something kind of going off that point, I think, you know, people are so worried about like, oh my God, what is my dream job? I don't even know what my dream job is. It could turn out that your dream job does not exist yet. You know, there's so many things that are just constantly coming out of nowhere. And we're like, wait, that's a job. That can be someone's full-time livelihood. And so I think it's about, like Gabby said, kind of doing your research and figuring out how people got where they are, but also just kind of keeping in mind that what you're doing right now could just be okay for right now. And that's fine because what you're meant to be doing is around the bend. And so for me, I think this is partially my dream job as well. I think right now I'm kind of working on a scale where it's like I'm doing smaller projects, smaller graphic design projects, smaller creative projects. And ultimately one day, I'm only 24, so I have some time. I want to start my own creative agency where I have not only just myself, but other freelancers in the city or wherever, maybe digitally, who knows, and where we can all work together and put out bigger projects. So when I was at L'Oreal, we worked with a number of different creative agencies where, you know, we would have like a huge budget and they would be managing like a $50,000 project and like things like that. And ultimately I want to get to a point where I have a business like that, where there's an office to go to. We have, a studio, like big things, big dreams like that. One day I want to be there. And I'm slowly kind of testing the waters of hiring some people. I have a few people that work for me now that are actually recent college grads. I've been kind of turning to those people because I know the job market is just mayhem right now and people need some extra cash. And so I've been paying people to do some projects that I just don't have time to do and that they are super eager to do for really fun clients and things. So I think I'm slowly easing my way into where I want to be. I have I have my podcast as well, which I really love doing. And I love public speaking and things like that. So who knows, like maybe I can somehow branch that way as well. But I know I'm in a good place right now, which is comforting. I don't know if I'm in my dream job per se, but like I'm in a good place, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, I feel like the job that I had, which I left back in October now, when I moved to New York at 21, and even as like an 11-year-old kid who was like reading 17 magazine in her room, I think I would have told you, I definitely would have said that I had my dream job at the time. And I felt really lucky to have it. And I was so like excited and proud and for the a good like 2 solid years when I was in that job. And I was like walking around New York, like, this is great. Everything is awesome. I feel so grateful, whatever. And then I think for me, I started to see that kind of change and myself kind of change as I discovered other things I was interested in, and maybe wanted to explore or whatever, or have time to explore at least. And so for me, I think I started having my dream job, and then I saw it become not my dream job, which was very scary and disorienting and honestly like a little heartbreaking at the time. And I wasn't really sure what to do next. So to Katie's point, I feel like actually right now I am in like a weird in-between place, but I also think I'm like very, very okay with being there right now because I know something is going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
So,
and I will say, like, even though you all feel like you still have room to grow, we all admire you very much. And that is the reason that you're here. So again, thank you for being here. I literally can't say it enough.
Yeah. So then, you know, obviously the job market is not great right now, considering the circumstances. So entering the job market is even more difficult than usual. What are some, like, maybe like a couple like crucial things that you think are important for like young people entering the job market to have in a time like this, like specifically for seniors?
Yeah. I think portfolio is key. I really think that that's what helped me, having a really strong portfolio of things that I can show that speak for me when I'm not around, you know, throwing my portfolio link everywhere I could possibly put it, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, you know, all over the place.
That speak towards to what I can. And I also think college to knowledge was important that weren't required, that clearly see.
Your audio's kind of like clipping in and out a little bit. Do I sound
Oh, yeah. You sound good.
It was like intergalactic.
It was really cool though. It was kind of scary.
I can't
Oh
hear
no,
we can't hear you.
Bummer.
We're still getting the galaxy.
It's like slow-mo.
Yeah.
Hear me now?
Yeah, Paige, why don't you try removing her from the stream and then bringing her back in just to do the audio? Everyone else is okay? Can everyone else say something?
Hey.
Oh. Oh, you're still cutting out a little bit. Can you maybe disconnect your AirPods and just use your computer audio?
Now.
Weird. What if she tries to exit out and then come back? I don't know.
Should I do that?
Yeah, go for it. Okay. Good job. Good call, Carrie.
I've been on a lot of like Zoom meetings and multiple person meetings in my day. So yeah.
Yeah.
Hi. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, weird. Oh my God. I've never had that happen. Hi again.
It was funny. It added a nice element.
Oh no. I'm like happy I couldn't hear what it sounded like, honestly.
No,
It was special. It was like alien part
Okay. Well, yeah, portfolio is important.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to say.
You got cut off there. That stinks.
Good.
But good, succinct advice nonetheless.
Good.
Gabby, you want to take it? Do you want us to repeat the question?
Advice for seniors in this chaotic job market?
Yes.
Don't give up. Even if you might not be able to get a job in your field that you're interested in at this moment, we all have bills to pay. You know, at least I did when I was graduating college. My family's in Florida and I'm not moving back to Florida. So I made it work. You know what I mean? Like, even if it means having to take something that's unattractive at this time, the market is going to bounce back. I was a teenager. I was like a junior in high school in 2008 when the last financial recession happened. It was scary for me to go to college. Things still weren't great. I also have been a journalist in an age where journalism is going through a major transformation from print to digital, and everything is changing. It is such a chaotic time, even in media. But if you just hang on tight and keep trying and don't lose hope, and like even if it doesn't happen that year, try the next year. You know, I'll like give a quick anecdote about my friend Dallas. My friend Dallas is like, he wants to be a fashion photographer. Like that was his goal. He didn't do any internships in college. And this is a good story for you because it shows, like, I think you can relate with it with a chaotic market. He worked in retail at Apple, which is actually a great job. They have amazing benefits and you get great pay and you get discounts on tech. So it's dope. So it's a great in-between job if you need one. He worked at Apple for like 4 years after college. And, you know, but he didn't ever give up. He just kept trying. And he was like 24 and applying for internships, but that doesn't matter because you know what? He finally freaking got one. And he got a job doing photography and marketing for a fashion company. And then like after a year of being an intern there, he was hired full time. And he was like, yes, he was 26 years old and he just got his full-time job in his field that he wanted to be in. But that just goes to show you, if it doesn't happen right away, it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen in the future. Do what you can, keep your skills sharp, always be connecting, and also set up job alerts. Like, find your favorite companies. Like, part of the thing about getting a job is knowing actually when those freaking alerts come out. Like, I saw a gig for CNN's investigative unit like a few months ago, and I saw it like 2 days before it expired, and I didn't apply in time, and I was like so heartbroken. Set up those types of email advisories, which a lot of websites do, like for all the big companies, so you can monitor when jobs come out. A friend of mine was like, she wanted to work in tech. She watched Etsy's job page for a year before something came up. And she finally applied. Finally, the right job came up. And now she's working there and she's so happy. And she's like 30, you know, like don't judge yourself based on others. That's also another major piece of advice. You might see on Instagram, like, oh, everyone's so perfect and great. Like, no, like, don't judge yourself based on other people's lives. Your journey is an individual journey. You are on your own journey and you will make it to where you need to go when the time is right. So just hang on and you'll get there.
That was really inspiring. Wow.
It was. I feel empowered.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I also feel like too, especially given the state of media and editorial and all of that right now, I think having varied experience can be one of the most helpful things, and also willingness to explore those different areas. Like maybe your dream is to, be a fashion editor, but you also might be interested in or good at, like, I don't know, PR, anything, social, copywriting. They're all different, even though at the end of the day, they're under a similar or the same roof. But I think especially for editorial, when things are changing so much, and there honestly have been tons of layoffs and mergers and all this stuff that's happening, that can make the industry seem like a scary place to be. I think if you're open to doing something a little bit different, at least for now, that can be super helpful. Because while like all these publications might not have tons of jobs open, like, I don't know, different beauty brands and that kind of stuff are branching into different fields. And a lot of times more corporate companies, I feel like, are a little bit safer than media right now. And even in my freelance experience so far, I've actually, even though I have an editorial background, I've pivoted more into like copywriting and that kind of thing, because personally I enjoy it more, but it also just feels a little bit more secure and in demand constantly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, definitely. So now we're kind of going to move into a Q&A. We've been doing Q&A, but a Q&A with our audience. So if anybody who's watching wants to send in some questions, feel free. We're going to pick a couple for the panelists to answer. But in the meantime, while those questions are coming in, we have a couple of rapid fire quarantine questions for you. So Maddie, if you want to take it away with those questions.
Yes. I will also say that when the comments were off, we had our like Her Campus group chat going with questions just in case. So we will check that, Her Campus people who are watching this. Don't worry. Okay, first one. Favorite TV show right now while you're watching? And we're going to start with Katie because she's below me.
Oh my God. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm so nervous. Okay.
No, you're good. You sound
favorite
perfect.
TV show now, How I Met Your Mother. I'm rewatching.
Okay.
Good one. Bob Burgers.
Yes. Good
It's a good
show.
You can't deny the comedy.
sleep every night.
Law and Order SVU.
So good. So good.
A lot of
I've
that.
been watching
A lot.
SVU since I was like 12, and I never gave it up. It's
I
so
love
good.
it.
You gotta
It's so
keep going.
good.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Favorite book?
Oh.
The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo.
Okay,
I
I need to
just
write it down
finished.
right now.
And it was so good. I cried. I sobbed at the end. It was so good. Like in a good way.
That's
Is it a fiction? Because I'm
It's
all about
fiction,
fiction.
but it feels like it happened. Like
Can
it's
you
a real,
send it
it's realistic.
chat?
It's historical fiction. Yeah. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo.
I know we're all like taking notes right now.
Really good.
Got it.
Okay, amazing. All right, Gabby.
So The Orphan Master's Son. It is like this incredible novel. It is like, it shook me. Like, and every time somebody asks for a recommendation of a book, I always say this book. Read this book. It'll blow your freaking mind.
Really? Okay, can also just type it in the chat because I'm gonna add it to my list. All right, Carrie.
This is so embarrassing that I have not
Good.
read a book in such a long time, and so I honestly don't know if I can give you one right now.
That's okay. That's not
I'm gonna have to
embarrassing
sit
at
this
all.
one out.
All good.
I'm very embarrassed.
When you spend so much of your day reading, it's hard to sit down and commit your time to reading. I get it.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes,
It is.
Feel validated.
totally reasonable.
Thank you so much.
Next question.
Okay,
Favorite quarantine snack?
Ooh.
Anything with Nutella. I have been obsessed. I don't know. I like just rediscovered it. I don't buy myself Nutella, and my mom buys it, and I've just been putting it on everything.
amazing. It's banned from my house because we eat so much of it, actually.
Oh my god! I like consider it healthy, but it's not. It's so sugary. But it's so good.
It's good for the soul.
Yes.
Good
Oh
for
yeah.
the soul.
Oh yeah.
It's healthy for your well-being.
Yep.
Mental health, okay?
Yep.
Smart Pop white cheddar, like the reduced fat. It's like
Yum.
so good, and you can eat so much of it, and it actually
Oh,
tastes
yeah.
good, but it's like guilt-free. So me and my girlfriend just eat that constantly.
It's so good.
What for me? Oh my gosh. Clementines randomly, and what else? Chocolate chip cookies and TikTok whipped coffee.
Ooh, I wanna try.
Interesting.
I haven't tried that yet.
It's
I
a daily
haven't
thing now.
either.
Only because I don't want to put in the effort to make
Yeah,
it.
I
Okay,
want to try
you
it
have
too.
to. You make it in one glass in the glass you're gonna drink it out of, and like do that to the whisk, and it's so fast and easy cleanup.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would like the texture. I definitely feel like I have to try it though.
I think it feels like fancy. That's why I've been doing it, because it feels like I'm like going
Yeah.
to a coffee shop and getting something, but you're at your house. Yeah.
All right, Nuck, do you want to ask the next question? Because I'm going to pick a question from the comments.
Yes. Favorite movie? And then we'll get into the Q&A.
Favorite movie.
Favorite movie.
I just watched, I mean, not of all time, but right now, I watched Emma, the new one. Like they've done a million different ones, not the Gwyneth Paltrow one, the brand new one. And it was filmed so beautifully, similarly to Little Women. If you watch the new Little Women, the Greta Gerwig version, it was just, I recommend it to everyone.
We can see Paige down here is like cheering.
Women 3 times.
So good. I love period dramas. I'm like obsessed with them. So
Yeah, really good. I just rewatched Isle of Dogs recently, like at the other end of the night. I saw it like 2 years ago when it came out, but it's such a good movie. You know, there's doggies, there's like conflict, there's great graphics. It's like there's an investigative journalist who takes down the mayor. Great film.
Nice.
What for me? I just rewatched Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. If anyone's seen that,
so good.
and it's been a long time, and that is a great movie. And then when I came down here, I watched Knives Out, and that was really good.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about that movie, but I haven't seen
I
it.
loved Knives Out. I saw it with my boyfriend, and then we waited till it came out so we could see it again on demand because it was just so good.
It was a really good movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it. We're going to do 3 questions, and it's kind of going to be a gamble because Paige is going to pick them from behind the scenes, except for one I picked from our Her Campus group chat. So, Paige, whenever you're ready, throw it on up here. In the meantime, I will... Oh, perfect. How do you navigate being persistent in your pursuit of your dream job without feeling like you're being annoying or aggressive? Oh, this is definitely a feminist issue. Someone else take this.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Hashtag growing up female.
Mhm.
Yep.
Just you need to have that conversation with yourself and say, I'm not being annoying or aggressive for asking what I want. You know, like as women, we've been trained to like not be annoying and to like not prod the beast and blah, 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 and like walk on eggshells about everything. Throw that shit out the window, take what's yours and just go after it. I mean, you know, obviously you don't want to call somebody 10 times in a row. Like that's a little bit stalkerish, but I mean, like I said, I emailed this guy, my boss, like 10 times before he finally even agreed to give me an interview. And I also called like 4 times as well. He doesn't think I'm annoying. I have a job now for 5 years with him. So you just, you need to just make that decision and say, like, I'm not, don't let doubt control your actions. You're not being annoying.
Completely agree with that. And also I think just get people in person. I think it really helps in terms of like, if, for freelance, especially if you're trying to get a job or trying to work with someone on something, say, let's meet up for coffee and pitch yourself. And they have a harder time saying no to you if you're literally sitting in front of them, showing them how you can help them. And, you know, not to say like you should trap people and like force them to say yes to you, but someone can easily just like delete your email or delete your message. But if you catch them in person, they have to listen to you basically, you know? So I think I wouldn't say like show up at someone's house, but you know, if you're in New York and social distancing is no longer a thing anymore, hopefully someday very soon, just go to that person's office and say, hi, can I like have 5 minutes with this person? And you know, it's scary and you do have to kind of like, you know, talk yourself into it, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Right. I think don't be afraid, like Gabrielle said, and also like just be a little bit strategic if you need to. If you're like spacing out how often you reach out to someone or whatever, or it's been a while, but you're like following up with an old connection or something. If you have new work or anything like that, you just like slip it in your little email, like attach it or link it, do whatever you need to be like, here's the work I keep doing and have been doing and can do for you. I don't know. I feel like that helps.
Yeah.
Definitely. Also, someone asked if this video is going to be saved. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm pretty sure it auto records and then we can like post it as a new video on YouTube. So yes, good call.
Paige, bring up.
Yeah, we're ready.
Question.
What would you say is the best way to go when applying for jobs or college? Resume template or go ahead. Oh, I have so many cons of my own. Go ahead, guys.
I personally think colorful and creative, but I think you have to just like tailor it to what you're applying for or, you know, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I have been the person in my last job where I was like the one going through intern resumes, and definitely the more colorful, creative, well put together, like well spaced, whatever, any of that, good grammar, those stood out more by far, even if someone was really qualified. Obviously you look at all that stuff too, but I think for standing out purposes, if you can, colorful and creative, but like, also don't overdo it. Yeah.
100% agree. I actually currently am designing resume templates for some people. I have like a bunch of them posted on my Patreon, and I've talked to some people that do hiring to get some advice on how to do it correctly. And I found definitely be colorful, creative, depending on your job market. Like sometimes, you know, you need it to be super clean, and other times you can throw some pink or blue or something, and it'll catch someone's attention. But always make sure that your resume can be in a format where, like, I wouldn't suggest like a JPEG or like a PNG or something like that. Make sure it can be copy and pastable super easily, because some employers, I've recently learned this, I didn't know, will sometimes just like throw all the resumes into this application where it'll just like copy and paste all the text and look for keywords and things like that, like looking for a specific person who has Microsoft Word capability or something like that.
It's
So
such a
make sure
bummer
if
because
you're
it would be
being
so hard.
right, make sure if you're being creative, which is super important, make sure it's still copy and pastable, the format, meaning it's like a doc or it's like a pages document or just something where you can like literally just go copy paste, because employers will do that, which I've learned.
Yeah, it's definitely true.
I would say, for me, like I'm a hard news journalist, so I like if I'm replying to the New York Times, like it's going to be a very boring resume, but that's because of the nature of the company. You really have to look at the company. But you know, for somebody like Katy or Carrie, like I could totally see, like you're in graphic design. Like, you better have a killer freaking resume, you know, better than beautiful and awesome. Me, I'm a writer about things that are boring to a lot of people. So, you know, my resume is going to be a little bit boring. You know, I remember I was doing this event with high school students in New York City, and it was a mentoring program. And there was a girl from my job who worked in the marketing advertising department where she did all of our like graphics and promotions and stuff. And she was like, I use like a pink piece of paper for my resume. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, how did she get the job? Like, what's wrong with her? And they were like, they pulled it right from the top and she was immediately hired. And I was like, okay, so it really depends on what you're applying for, you know? And so I think like all great remarks, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, Paige, you want to hit us with the last question? I feel like it's funny we're like talking to Paige and she's not on.
Go Paige.
What advice would you give to a woman who's looking to become more empowered in her workplace? That's tough.
Yeah.
Right now, that's kind of just everybody's house. But when we're out, when you're actually in a physical office, how do you achieve that?
I think just like something that's really helped me, you know, when I
We lose her?
Oh no.
like public speaking or any of those things, you're all in your head about it. You think that you are way worse at something than you actually are. And everyone else sitting in a conference room, like in a meeting or something, is just like, they're nervous in their own way. They're nervous about other things that you probably don't even think when you are hearing them speak. Or, I mean, speaking up in meetings was tough for me, especially being the youngest person on my team. I was really nervous to ever speak up, but you'd be surprised. I mean, people want your input is valuable. They would not have hired you if they didn't want your input, if they didn't want to hear what you have to say. They would not be paying you by the hour or whatever if you weren't meant to be there. Like, I think a lot of us get hired and we're like, oh my God, like I have imposter syndrome. I don't deserve to be here. They would not be paying you if they didn't see something in you. And you have to start acting that way because, I mean, it takes time. You're not going to walk in on the first day and feel fully comfortable. That's just not a thing. Like, I didn't even know. I got lost trying to find the bathroom on the first day. That's just like how it is. But after some time, you start to make relationships with people, like you form friendships. It becomes easier that way. Even just pull someone aside that you really admire and be like, hey, can we get a coffee? Can I just ask for some advice on how to handle something? Like, I think that's how you feel more empowered, just getting out of your own way and giving yourself a chance to shine. I think that's huge.
Mm-hmm. I would add to that, when I first got hired full time, I had worked exclusively in the field for the last 3 years. I didn't go to an office. I worked out of my car. Like, nobody really saw me. And, so something that made me feel empowered was always looking my best. I love to do my hair and makeup. I love to have cute outfits. I like to wear heels or whatever cute shoes. Like, it's really, it's the most girliest thing about me. I always had great outfits and great makeup. And I always tried to look my best because it made me feel my best. And I could walk through the office, even though I was scared out of my mind, put your shoulders back and your chin up and just fake it until you make it. You have to channel that confidence. Confidence is so, so important when it comes to succeeding and feeling empowered in the workplace. Because if you exude confidence and if you believe in yourself, even if you really kind of still doubt yourself a little bit, but you exude that to others, they are going to eat it up and they will not be able to tell. So confidence, and if you like to dress up and look good, dress up and look good because you're going to feel freaking great and you're going to feel empowered.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
What would I say? I think just no matter what task you're doing or anything like that, just whatever your area of expertise is or anything that you're assigned to, if you can just take it really seriously, do the best job you can, and I don't know, just put all of your effort into it. I think even if it's something, if you're at the beginning of your career and it's a smaller task, if you fully own it and go at it and present it beautifully, whatever it is, I feel that feels good, and can help your confidence, and then help you, I don't know, get more tasks and grow from there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and stop apologizing. Don't apologize.
Yes, yes.
I have
to snap for that.
I have such a problem with that. I hold the door for people, and I'm sorry. I reason.
How about you're welcome?
So then, in true journalistic fashion, before we end the panel, are there any sort of like comments that you guys want to give to the people who are watching? Any sort of like last words for career advice? Anybody can start.
Well, just for me, what I would say is work hard. Younger people, millennials, and Gen Z or whatever it is you guys are in. I think we might still be millennials. I don't know. But older people think we're lazy and think that we're entitled and think that we're not willing to work hard because you have people like Katy and Carrie who are their own bosses and making shit work without having to go to an office every single day. And that really, like, boomers don't like that.
So true.
Show them how hard you can work. Be willing to put in the effort. Like, always work hard. Always be passionate about what you're doing. If you're not passionate about it, find something that you are. Take that time. Like, why waste away in something? You know what I mean? Even if it wasn't what you thought, even if it's totally different than what you studied in college, that's okay to redirect. Just hang in there, stay positive, be confident, and work hard. Those are my words of wisdom.
Yeah.
I agree. And I also would just say that I actually just posted a whole podcast about this today, but failure.
Go listen to Katy's podcast.
Okay. I highly recommend it. It's actually super relevant to what we're talking about right now. But failure is just research unless you stop trying. Like, if you stop trying, failure is final. Like, it's a final thing. But failure is just research.
Can we just want to quote that in the comments, please?
I learned like how to do this a million wrong ways before figuring out the right way.
That's awesome. Love that.
Really
Yeah. I don't know. For me, I would say just give a shit about everything you're doing. Trust the path, and I don't know, everything will work out. Even just go with the flow, basically, and trust yourself and know yourself, and trust your gut, and just let those things guide your path, even though it might not end up being what you originally thought it did. Yeah.
Totally.
Amazing. You guys were so amazing. Literally, the comments are like blowing up. We were so appreciative of like you being here. I 100% cannot say it enough. And if anyone just wants to give us like a little shout out in the comments, or if you need anything, please feel free to say it. But we are going to end the Dream Job panel here just because it is 8 o'clock and we've kept you hostage for over an hour, but we really appreciate you being here again. So thank you so much. I know from all of her campus, Hofstra, and all of her campus nationals, I can say, and Maddie can say, that we are so appreciative of you being here.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a great event. And like, usually we have this in person. So the fact that we could get you guys to do this virtually is awesome. So thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to all of our audience members for joining us.
Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome.
All right, Paige, you want to take them off?
I'm going to sign off. Thank you all so much for coming.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Great.
you.
Bye.
Okay, so we're just going to do a little wrap up. Thank you guys again so much for being here and for taking time out of your quarantine night to be with us tonight.
Yeah, even despite like all of the technical issues that we were sort of having. I was hearing that it was a YouTube thing. That people were having issues with like YouTube itself, not us.
So let's blame YouTube.
Better? Yeah. Okay. So it's fine.
It's not us. The Maddies, we're perfect. We're good.
Everybody's just trying their best out here, including us.
But yes, thank you guys so much for being here. And if you're not following us on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest or YouTube, what are you doing? So definitely get on that ASAP at HC Hofstra on pretty much everything. And please hit that subscribe button on whatever side it is on.
You sound like a YouTuber saying that. You're like, I don't know. Yes.
Thank you. I practiced before this.
Coming. Bye.
Bye.